Hello, welcome back to another episode of Quirky Talk where I talk about everything that I know basically. So, this episode is way long overdue and I have some topics lined up, but I don't have the opportunity to talk it because I don't have, let's say, I don't know. But anyway, I have some topics lined up here, so let's jump straight into it. But first, remind you that it's not definite yet if I'm going to um, continue this as a series, but I want to talk much about more kasi nga, yun nga, ang point naman nito is to share kung ano man yung nangyari ngayon, no? And something that I like to be talking. Yeah, so um, there's a lot of things that I have to run through in this episode because this is way long overdue. Yeah, so first thing, no, I just want to say thank you for listening to the first episode, and probably there will be more episodes to come, more topics that I will talk about or talk over. And so, first thing, no, itong time na to, it is actually um, medyo, yun nga, rainy season na rin. So probably, um, it will be a bit of a blue emotionally for me kasi sometimes yung weather ngayon probably it will factor in many things such as ayun nga, you have some problems that you have to deal with, you have some aspirations, yan, and sometimes nakaka-apekto rin yung surroundings dun, no? You just go on with the weather, with how you feel, with how you think about different things. But, yun nga, sometimes I lose motivation to speak about anything. That's why itong one of the factor or one of the reasons kung bakit itong episode na to is overdue na rin. Ayan. So, yeah. But I have some topics lined up here. First, no, is yung NBA playoffs, no? So, I've, with the season ending, no, or we have here NBA playoffs, so I have a lot to talk about the first and second round, no? Especially the first round in which a lot has happened. We have Clippers winning over Dallas, even with Luka outperforming himself again. Denver wins against Portland. Utah wins against Memphis. Philly won against Washington. Atlanta beat the Knicks. Milwaukee swept the Heat. And Brooklyn beat Boston. Ayan. And probably the crowning gem, even though I'm a Lakers fan, is we got bested by Phoenix. And especially, I want to talk about this playoff series because not only I'm a Lakers fan, but this will be a this will be an indication whether or not did Lakers waste away their future for a ring. I'd say hindi naman siguro because yun nga, ang point of ng pagpapanalo nga sa NBA is yun nga, ang point nga ng pag-build ng roster sa NBA is to win. Even though you sacrifice your future for let's say one player in other pieces, ayan, so I think sulit na lang yung ring because we might not know if those pieces, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma is still on the team, but if they stay together, probably we will not have made at least on the second round. Pero ayun nga, we've done, or Lakers have done their, not really their best now because some of them are really shooting below league average when it comes to 3 points. They have the best defense, but they can't really produce that much on the offensive end. Yeah, and that is before, that was evident even before Anthony Davis went down. And then everybody went down in production as well. So ayun nga, I'm still got it, but that's the hard fact. When if you don't step up, if you don't shoot on a league average at bare minimum in the playoffs, then we kind of deserve to lose that, no? Ayan. So we got bested by Phoenix. They deserved it naman, no? Phoenix have done pretty well, especially Devin Booker and the point guard Chris Paul. Ayan, so we have here 4-2 Phoenix win in the first round. And second round, Utah just beat the Clippers just beat the first seed Utah Jazz thanks to the heroics of Terrence Mann. Ayan. And also, this kind of exposed on the Jazz team defense overall, because even though they have the defensive player of the year, he cannot really do it all when it comes to perimeter defending. I mean, you have some reliable defenders, but you cannot really defend too. You cannot really put the blame on Gobert himself. If anything, if you want to blame something, it should be Quinn Snyder, because he failed to adjust the Clippers. Failed to adjust against the Clippers. And then we have Denver versus Phoenix. This is sweep. Yeah. Suns in 4. You know the recent meme of someone getting beaten up by saying Suns in 4? Well, it happened. And Devin Booker basically gifted him. Yun nga nangyari, 4-0. Sweep. Everyone is saying, where's Jokic? Where's the MVP? Well, Jokic did pretty well during the during this series, but if anything, Phoenix really outplayed them. They really outplayed, especially when the guards cannot really penetrate for the Denver Nuggets, no? Yan. And also, on the other side of the league, Eastern Conference semifinals, Milwaukee wins 4-3. Ayan. But that game 7 was a classic, no? KD sends it into overtime, 40 points, the most in game 7 or most in playoffs history. Ayan. But it wasn't enough. He might airball yung parang last shot, but I think he played like a legend on 48 points. If anything, siguro it's basically the pieces around him that cost him the game, and it had to take an overtime shot by KD, no, to get them into overtime. Giannis played well. He's like probably the co-MVP, if you can treat it that way, not together with KD, of this series. That game 7 will be classic, no? And then we have Philly and Atlanta. Now, this is like a shocker to me, since many people expected Philly to win because, first of all, they're the first seed, no? But that didn't happen because of Ben Simmons. Yeah, Ben Simmons. The guy who can't shoot. Even though Trae Young got 5 out of 23 on Game 7, they didn't really perform. They didn't perform as a first seed because they failed to adjust their offense. They had to stop every shooter that Atlanta has, which they kind of did, since Trae Young had a 5 and 23 game from the 3-point line. But yeah, if you have Ben Simmons who can shoot, probably he will lead you to nowhere. If you have him as your premium point guard who can change his game, can modify his game to this today's style, then probably you will not, or then you're not getting anywhere. As Doc Rivers said, is Ben Simmons a championship, or is Ben Simmons the point guard that will lead you to the NBA Finals? He doesn't know He doesn't know the answer to that question. So there are doubts as to if Ben Simmons will still be the point guard of this franchise. Yeah. But props to Trae Young. This is his first playoff appearance, and he made it into the Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm looking forward to that. Now, first off, another fun fact is that these conference finals, all of these teams did not win an NBA championship since 1977 when since the NBA ABA merger. So this will be an interesting as to which city. I mean, Clippers is in LA and they already celebrated. And LA already celebrated a year earlier when the Lakers win, but this the Clippers. They haven't won a championship. So it's very interesting to see where this conference final is going to go. Yeah. As of right now, Phoenix leads 2-4, and this is without Chris Paul. Chris Paul is out because of health protocols. I think he might got the big C. Yeah. Whereas Kawhi Leonard is still out because of an apparent knee, or not really apparent, but it's a knee injury. It might, and many fear that it is an ACL injury. So, yeah, it's actually this finals is going to be interesting. Yeah, so that's for me covering the NBA. Now, let's go into Formula One. Yeah, so Formula One, I'm going to cover both Azerbaijan and French GP. So you know already what happened to Azerbaijan. So Leclerc starts from pole, but he wasn't able to keep the lead. And then, Max or Hamilton was in the lead, but a pit strategy from Red Bull made Verstappen lead the race. He basically jumped, or I think undercut Hamilton as well as Perez. That's why the running order for the most part of the race, the running order is Verstappen, Perez, and Hamilton. And then we had the safety car from Lance Stroll because of the tire failure. And then we have another safety car in this one, but not really a safety car, but a red flag from Max Verstappen because of the same issue that Lance Stroll had. And that begs the question, is it Pirelli's fault that these tires are not making it to the end of the race? I mean, as we saw on the French Grand Prix, where the tire integrity, even for the hard, was an issue for the front runners. Now, on the strategy wise, okay, now let's go back to Azerbaijan, where red flag, restart. Hamilton was leaning a bit to on the approach to turn 1 when all of a sudden his brake magic didn't work, or he accidentally pressed the brake magic to move the brake bias on the front, That's why his tires slapped up. And then Perez led the way, and then Sebastian Vettel takes second place, and Gasly went third. And so you know already that this this race was full of energy, full of suspense, full of drama, and full of controversy. Not only on not only on Pirelli's tire situation, where everything blew up and they said that it will be a one-stop, but also in the FIA. Why FIA? Because they called the safety car late on the incident of Lance Stroll, and then they called the red flag even later. I think most of the cars went for a full lap and a half after the incident. And we need to know whether or not does the FIA still has the competence to administer these, or not really administer, but to control these races when these situations arise. Because we've seen inconsistencies from race director Michael Masi about whether or not to call a red flag. He was even doubting to call a red flag on the Verstappen incident. And next, we now move on the French GP, where I just watched it yesterday. And let's say it's a battle of strategy. But again, it's still on the tire integrity that is important, because most of the cars didn't, or most people or most drivers didn't expect it to be two-stop, except for the one who went into the hards first and went into the medium second, on their second stint. Now this is the battle of strategy, where basically Red Bull just pulled a reverse Spain 2021, where they undercut Mercedes, but they know, but they're feeling that this will be a two-stopper, so they stop again at the perfect time. It's the same as and Max Verstappen took the lead at the right moment. But I'm still impressed that Lewis find a little bit of pace when his tires are basically dead at that point. According to from what I saw on the stat graphic during the live broadcast, the tires are like on the red, meaning that they're going to cause massive vibrations to Lewis's car. And that way, we saw how important, or we saw how powerful the undercut is at Paul Ricard. But again, the main situation is how do they manage these tires to be on the perfect time to end the race at full pace. So again, French GP, it's the battle of strategy and how can you pull the perfect undercut to not get jumped on the pits. And that is about the Formula 1. And another topic that I have in my mind is my commuting situation when I was in college, and how did it help my mental health. So you know already, if you know me already, and if you stop literally, no, but if you know already about me, as some of my viewers, I studied at UST. I graduated from there, and uwian ako nun eh. And nagising ako ng 4 o'clock ng umaga. Nag-aanda ako pa, probably isang oras, no? And then, aalis ng bahay ng 5. And then, makakarating ng school either sakto, late, or you're at least 30 minutes early. Yun yung mga average times ng arrival ko. Pero yung commute, it takes 2 hours, 1.5 hour, on average 1.5 hour yan, or 1:45, depende sa araw, no? So, itong commuting na to, although stressful ng mga panahon yun, because you know that our transport system is, or not only the transport system, that includes the roads, na palaging traffic, yun yung nakaka-stress sometimes, at saka din sa punuan na pila sa mga FX, ganoon din sa jeep. Yun yung isa sa mga probably sometimes na mas malaking problema kumpara dun sa studies ko noon. And it begs the question, paano naman nakatulong sa mental health mo yun? Mental health ko yun. Firstly, no, is yung parang journey na gusto mo pag-isa dun sa dun sa FX at saka sa jeep. Yun yung parang me time mo eh. Yun yung parang, even though may mga katabi ka na hindi mo kilala, for me, it's a personal space, no? To reflect upon myself, to know what I'm going to do for that day, and to know what I'm probably going to do tomorrow. Yun yung parang time in which I have to think kung ano yung gagawin ko sa bahay, ano yung gagawin ko sa school, ano yung parang mga kailangan kong tapusin, and also to check on my stuff if something that I've accidentally dropped, since yun nga, I try to double check everything before I leave and any vehicle, no? Kahit masistress ka dahil wala kang masakyan kapag kapag naghihintay ka sa isang spot, nandun pa rin yung parang self-time mo. You have your as you go through different roads, different cities, you are still yourself, embarking on a journey na kahit paulit-ulit mo man lang na ginagawa yun araw-araw, you're still finding yourself in a comfortable position, no? Ayan. Kahit sabihin mo na stress ka dahil sa traffic, for me, parang inisip ko na lang na ay makakarating rin ako sa sa paroroonan ko. And with that, no, kasama ko rin yung isang bagay that will eliminate stress during the traffic hours, during the commuting times, and that is music, no? I listen to music that much. Ayan, I really like hip-hop covers, pop, ayan, and I've enjoyed listening to music whenever na may mga journey na even though araw-araw mo siyang ginagawa, pero parang nakaka-stable yun ng mind kasi kahit hindi mo kilala yung mga nasa tabi mo, random people, but still, you are on your own sitting, waiting for your embarking on a journey, parang mahabang paglalakbay, no? Pero ayun nga, parang nandun ka lang sa kinaupuan mo, waiting. You're parang sitting and reflecting kung ano yung parang magiging gagawin mo for that day, no? Stable yung mind mo when you are sitting and listening to music. Yan. And also, kahit nung mga panahon na wala akong cellphone noon, where I had to rely on the radio of the vehicle, yung sasakyan, it's still a wonderful experience na rin. That's what I miss during this time of pandemic, yung parang pagko-commute ng mahaba-haba. Yan. Next, no? Ano pa bang mga topics na meron na it's about yung BTS na McDo issue. Or not really issue, but BTS McDo meal. So, I don't know if I want to order just to try the food. Ayan. But since it's a cultural thing, no? Ayan. So, I'll let the fans get there instead of me. Even though I'm not a fan, no? Not, kapag sinabi ko I'm not a fan, I'm not saying that I dislike them. You know. But I'll try to expose to their music na rin since their music is actually enjoyable to listen, no? Yan. And also what I'm also meant that I'm not a fan, not a big fan relatively because itong following ng BTS dito sa Pilipinas, they're huge. And probably if I consider myself a fan, then you need to go to their standards of what is being a BTS fan to them. Yan. Now, I've seen na rin on social media yung parang BTS fans, para sa BTS fans lang to. Nakikibagay lang yung iba dahil isa tong parang special meal na in-offer, no? Na some non-BTS fans ayaw mo order rin because nakikibagay lang, which is not really wrong inherently since it's still a food. It's still food. Some might be gatekeeping. Some fans might be gatekeeping, but I think that's not really the point of having them in restaurants, no? Because or not the point of having them in the fast food chains because that's actually advertising for them to gain more fans. And if you keep gatekeeping on them, then what's the point of having in them? Especially on something that is essential, such as food. Yan. Why would you gatekeep food? You cannot really gatekeep food. Yan. Although may ibang tao na nakikibagay lang kasi uso, but some fans are really calling out people na hindi naman fans on not ordering them. Yan. So, to keep a fair point na rin, no? It's okay kung may bagay ka. Ayan. But you do not disrespect the fans. But you don't disrespect the non-fans. Okay? Yan. Now, moving on to the related issue, which is the BTS Byte issue now. Here's the thing now. We cannot really tolerate homophobia in this day and age because everyone is created equal, no? What are you going to gain if you disrespect other people? And that goes to people of different genders. Yeah, that's it. Kahit sabihin mong yun nga, bayot, why? What's the point of it? Just because marami silang na-attract na female fans or do they look feminine to you? I mean, what is it to gain from them? Or what is it to gain from there? Ayan. Some probably, yung mga jokes nila parang nilalagyan pa nila ng mga offensive jokes about sex, ganon. Or yung mga unconsented, ganon. I cannot really say the word, no? But you know what I mean. I've seen some of the posts here and there on social media na nagjo-joke pero they go beyond the line of the joke. Ayan. So probably that is it for my comment about that issue. Ayan. Everyone has their own thing. Why not have them enjoy it, but not really offending anyone. Yan. And also not really gatekeeping what is essential. No? Kahit sabihin mo McDonald's, essential ba yan? But it's still food. Yan. Food is food. Yan. And we've seen um, issues and then um, in the delivery side of things, where some drivers are not really keen to deliver these meals because of the surge of orders, and they get penalized for it, and some even commenting the same thing, in which they get suspended for it. Yeah. So that's my thought process on it. Let me know if I thought of something wrong about it, or if I said something wrong. I'll be happy. I'm really glad that there will be comments about it. No? Yeah, you can message me if you want to talk about it, and I will be open for that conversation. And so anyway, what I'm next thing now is what I'm planning to do is, or for the next episode, is to have myself vaccinated na rin. Yan, I'll talk about it probably on the next episode if I get to film it on time. Ayan. So anyway, I think yun lang naman for now. I've talked about what I need to talk to na rin, no? So again, thank you for this one. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to this, and I'll see you next time. This is Quirky Talk. Thank you, and peace out.